Hey, TJ Larkin here, and my guest today is Shane Brady. Really excited to have him on. He was one of the first guests when I started. I think he was guest number two or three. And Shane and I have been talking a lot more lately because we actually are now partners on some newsletter software, which is really exciting, called Lightbreak, which we'll talk about a little later. But anyway, thanks for being here again, Shane.
No problem, TJ. Thanks for having me again.
Yeah,
It's been
yeah.
a while.
It has been, well, it's been a while
Well,
since anybody's seen us talk publicly, but not been a while since we talk frequently now about software and everything. But why don't you give everyone a quick overview? Again, I'm not sure how many people would have seen that one a long time ago. So give them an overview about where you are, your kind of background in the local newsletter, local media space, and what you're doing right now.
yeah, for sure. I think that our first conversation was probably May of 2025. So lots has changed, lots has been going on in the newsletter space. So, again, started my newsletter like late 2024. Kind of same as everybody heard the buzz online and got going that way. Grew it with meta ads. Quickly realized, the opportunity in the space, and so we branched out to a couple more cities with some partners of mine. And right now we're operating. We have about 32,000 subscribers across the newsletters, with our biggest one being 12,000. And Man, we operate three sends a week. They're all monetized via ads, and things are kind of rocking and rolling with them. So things have been good.
Awesome. Yeah, let's dig into some of this real quick. And uh, one thing I want to throw out there, if nothing's happened with this yet, but I think it is a good thing for people to hear about, is you've had some interest in people wanting to buy your newsletters, right?
Yeah, yeah. So that was very recently. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yep.
And it was not who I thought it would originally be. I never really the end goal of these newsletters kind of never really hit me until this conversation came up with this person. I can't like dive too deep into like who it is and like the details of whatever because we're actually like in talks right now. But I will say it was I don't want to call it a legacy media, but it's a company that has been around for a long time, and they have eyes on the newsletter space, and they are a bigger company in my area anyway. And they had a lot of questions about what was going on in the local newsletter world. They noticed a lot of things online. This person specifically follows me on a few of my social platforms and has been seeing the success of the newsletters and local media in general, and just the different take in the past few years that the community has been going for, in terms of how we operate day to day, the the scale of the newsletters, the cost for acquisition for subscriber, how we get advertisers, all of that stuff. So I know that there's a lot of information out there online, and it's getting seen by people, and some of the I don't want to call them hacks that the community is using, but they kind of are. It's just it's new to them, right? Like how we're getting subscribers and how we're and so local media folks that have been around for a long time, I don't think have seen a lot of that, and this is all new to them. It may not be new to us, but they're very interested in the whole process.
Yes, that is spot on. I am getting the same kind of inquiries, not necessarily to purchase mine yet, but from, call it legacy local media, right? People who are not doing what we're doing, what most people watching this are probably doing in terms of high quality newsletters that provide value, meta ads, a lot of it being creator led. These are things that are very foreign to legacy local media, but they are starting to figure it out, right? And I think the person or the business interested in you is just slightly ahead of probably most of them, but they're all starting to figure this out, right? We've even had some conversations with some very big players, like nine-figure players who, again, still don't fully understand what we're doing, but they're like aware of it, and that's why they're talking to us, right? So I think one of my takeaways, what do you think about this, Shane, is just that the gap is probably going to close at least somewhat. It's not like they're all of a sudden going to be able to do exactly what guys like us do, but they're going to get better because they're going to figure this out. And especially on the meta side, which actually is more direct competition if you have these in your area, right? So basically the kind of wide open space is probably going to shrink a bit. Would you agree?
Yeah, for sure. Because the playbook generally is simple, right? It's like, like set up your meta account, find that right ad set that works for you and pump some money into that ad set, right? And go
Mhm.
crush it and acquire a big subscriber base and send out content, right? And then once you have acquired a subscriber base that's at, you know, whatever number it needs to be to potentially go get some advertisers, and provide value to them. That's the hardest part, right? Is like
Yeah.
if you can find out meta ads and find out how to do it, the growing the subscriber base is, I don't want to say easy, but the simpler part. Then you got to be able to monetize. And interestingly enough, the legacy local media has
That's
figured that part out.
they
They
have
figured
that
out the hard part before they figured out the easy part. And so that
100%.
I don't want to say that that's scary, but it's an interesting thing to think about if they are able to figure out the meta ads. I will say though, however, in the conversations I've had with some of them, they're hesitant to use the meta ads to grow their business because they see meta as a competitor to them for local
Mhm.
business advertising dollars. So it's a weird matrix of,
Yeah.
am I going to pay my competitor who's kind of been stealing my business for the last 10 years? Like, what am I doing here? Right. So,
There's not only that, so it's funny you say that. That actually is totally true, but there's another reason why they're also hesitant, which is it's kind of weird to say, but like a moral reason. They almost feel like it's morally wrong. Like they're journalists, they're providing good info. They don't need to pay to get readers. Like
yeah,
there's a lot of these kind of hesitations like this. But I think the point is, if you're paying attention to even brands like Neiman Lab, I think is that what it's called, Neiman Labs, where these kind of people all talk and where they get their information about the local media or media business in general, those brands that have the impact on these legacy brands are telling them, you guys need to get in on this stuff. You need to figure this out, get over your hangups about it, and just do it. And that's why they're starting to reach out to people like us, and why it's going to become, there's going to be more competition here, right? I
yeah,
still don't think they'll get the newsletters perfect unless we help them with our software, which we are trying to do. So we may be part of how that's going to happen. But in general, they're going to get more involved in newsletters and social media, which we can get into that as well in a little bit.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
you brought up a super interesting point there too, right? Like the journalism reporter approach. Like
Mhm.
I had never in my life before like started Beehive and Meta ads done media at all. Like none. The
No, me
extent of
neither.
my email sending was me working for corporate sales for the last 10 years. Like,
Mhm.
and so if some random dude on the side can go and figure this out, like, full-time job, new dad, all that kind of stuff. Like I didn't have a lot of time and resources, and if I can figure that out, imagine a really good journalist with good original content being able to
Mhm.
link back to their own content easily to tens of thousands of people locally. Like that's a huge play because they're good.
No, you're spot on. It's funny. You and I were just talking about this. So I think this is interesting timing too of us talking about this, which is the as we're recording this, the Washington Post. I didn't even see how many people they laid off, but I guess they kind of, it was probably a lot from how much I heard about it. And in these circles, like the kind of journalism mainstream circles, they are talking more and more, as they have been for the last couple of years, about going out on your own, right, and doing your own thing. Again, this has already happened in the national politics on Substack, right? These Substackers making $1 million a year with paid subscriptions, but with the local people as well, to just start their own, one person media brands with like kind of more real journalism. This is going to become a lot more popular too, even in local areas, right? It's all going to grow, right? And I do
Mhm.
think this is definitely good for the space because there's going to be a lot more voices. Right now, the problem is not enough, right? But
Yes.
we may go from not enough to too much here quickly, which again is why we constantly say now is the time to build your brand, meaning like the actual brand, but also you being the face of that brand. You got to do it now and become the person now so that when people come in behind you, you kind of are already the person that people are used to getting this type of information from so that they have a harder time. You don't want to be competing with them at the exact same time.
Yeah, for sure. I think you hit on something very interesting there too, right? Like there's a big play for you to be like, for instance, like I myself want nothing to do with being like the face of my media brands. Like I just don't want to do
Mhm.
the camera thing. I don't.
Of
I know I
course.
should, and I haven't, like, I
Same.
literally haven't posted on Instagram since like I don't like May, June, which is terrible. I have like
Mhm.
thousands of subscribers, but I just don't want to do it. But like
Mhm.
going and finding that person, like you could be the technical background if you can figure out the meta, but like, and then you could go find the face, and that two-person team could literally own a city for local media. Like it would be a really, really, and go find that journalist, go find that reporter, partner with them. help with growth, help with the back end stuff, help with the technical stuff, and then they can do their reporting.
And the ad
Like look
sales.
at and
Yeah.
ad sales. Yeah, like look at Jacob Espinoza. Like
Yeah.
he's crushing it over there
Yeah.
in Salem. Just an
Well,
iPhone and a guy talking about local stuff. Crazy.
well, he's crushing, but also the business entrepreneur guy. I think the better example of what you just said, it was 4 episodes ago. Go watch my episode with Amy from Clevelandish. That is the exact scenario you just set up is what they're doing, right? There's a business guy in the back end, super smart, has some finances, knows how to do ad. Well, I help them with ads, but like he's all the business guy, and then she's the creator, she's the writer. She actually does ad sales herself too, but she's fully capable of being the face of the brand, right? And I think that's kind of what I'm doing too. I don't want to be the face of the brand. The only brand I want to be the face of is like this one, right? Like the B2B stuff, not the local B2C. Okay. One thing that I don't recall if we talked about this on the last episode, but I think people need to hear this one too, because it still comes up a lot. Talk about how you went from 1 issue a week. I think, did you jump like very quickly to 1 to 3?
Yeah.
Kind of talk about that and the impact of that, because I think this, many people, especially the more entrepreneur creator types, which are mostly people watching this, they're very scared of, mostly it's about overwhelming people and like turning people off or not having enough content. There also is a question of the amount of work, which again, Lightbreak, our software, helps solve that problem significantly. But ignoring that, just the like, I'm scared of affecting my reader base. Tell us about your experience, because you literally did it. So what actually happened?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it was like a month or two of sending once a week. I got like a couple ads in, and then like, I mean, it just came down to, simple math, right? Like, okay, I have 3 ads in this newsletter. I can send this once a week and grind it out, and this is like my max, like I could ever make, right? Like, that's it. So I was like, immediately, I was like, I need to have more issues. Then the problem comes, what do I put in those issues to continue like my subscriber base, right? And so, and not increase churn, which you will. Like let's just be real about it. Like there will be people that don't want that many emails a week, and that's just the way it's going to be. But I had to get away from my ego about like what people are going to think about me and just go, is this a business or am I doing a hobby? And I wanted to have a business. I wanted to actually make a decent side income from this. That was always the plan. And so there's a good level of like, what people can handle and what you can put out. And in the middle is like the quality of the content, right? And so like at the start, I was literally just doing a list of events. I was a little bit nervous about like putting news in there. What are people going to think? Do they want that? And I quickly realized that like people wanted it. And so I started tracking like the content categories in my newsletter. And the most clicked items are always the news, like community updates and stuff like that. And so we just started doing it, and we just started putting news in, and news is always up to date. There's always something happening in your community, and you don't think so, but while you're doing these things, because like you're constantly looking at the news, curating content and all that stuff, but like not everybody is finding that. Like not everyone's on Facebook all day. Like, yeah, right. Like, and
that's why they're subscribing.
It's like the morning brew approach to local, right? Like,
Exactly.
like that's exactly what they did, right? So, the busy professionals don't have time to be curating or like looking through content all day, and so you do it for them, and that's what you send out. So, anyways, yeah, it was a pretty quick approach. It was nerve-wracking at the start, but once I got over it, like 2 or 3 issues of people, like the subscriber churn rate increased, the unsubscribe rate. But after that, it plateaued. And then I actually found out people were coming back that actually had unsubscribed over a while, because we became a really key source of news in the community really, really quickly. And so we ended up like right now today with my biggest newsletter, we have 12,300 subscribers, and we have a 62% open rate and a 17% click-through rate. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, it was.
So basically the way, I don't know the exact numbers, but let's say at the kind of size you're, what do you think you lost? 100 subscribers maybe when you kind of made that jump to multiple newsletters?
Well, so we were only at like 3,000 subscribers, maybe not even, maybe like 1,500. So like we went from like an unsubscribed like total of like 3 per newsletter to like 10 twice in a row. So and then after that, it just plateaued, and it was, yeah.
Again, you got to think about that. Like, what does that mean in reality? So if you're getting $3 subscribers for 50 cents, it's like, okay, you lost $4, yet you were selling ads at whatever, $2.50. I mean, You know what? I want to get into this, Shane, because I know this is part of your mindset as well. I think it's totally related to what we're talking about. You kind of mentioned already. And again, I think this one, it's not an obvious right or wrong. And there may even be a middle ground, but I think it's important, at least for people to analyze this themselves, which is, are you doing this as a business? Is your goal to succeed as a business? Or are you thinking, I just want to make people happy or give them the best experience or whatnot? Of course, there's overlap. Again, there are some of these legacy players that literally just send out advertisements. I still can't get over. There's one in the Southwest United States that literally only sends ads. They don't actually send anything but ads. It's bizarre. I stay subscribed just to laugh about how bad it is. But so there is an extreme answer of like, I don't care about people at all. I'm just going to only care about making money. Of course, that's not what we're saying. But like in general, what are your thoughts on thinking about this as a business? And if you are thinking about it as a business, what other things should you do or not do that maybe somebody who's obsessing over, getting 100 NPS score from their readers wouldn't do? So we already mentioned one, which is just like increase the number of sends. But like, how else do you think about it in terms of content, essentially?
Yeah, so it all came down to, is my time going to be worth this? How much time am I spending on this? And what's my ROI on ads after that? And because like a lot of people here, I'm assuming, but are probably side hustling this, right? So like this is probably a lot of like your own personal time. So like in my head, I was like doing this on my own time. I'm like, what would I pay myself an hour to do this? And if I'm not making more than that, from my ads, why am I doing this? And like, I mean, some people might think like, that's so, corporate of you or whatever, but I always went into this as I'm going to make money from this. I think I said that before. And so, it came down to, at one point I was doing like, it was taking me like 3 hours to like get the newsletter, going and curating all the content. I used to put like 35 events in there. I'd go to like, you know, the pub in the neighboring city and I'd be looking if they had like a good band for live music. And then, I know some readers probably appreciated that, but I was burning out and it was just not gonna be a long-term play. And so I had to take away a little bit of the ego of like, are people going to be angry at me if I do this? Blah, 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 blah. And just go, I'm going to do the best that I can. It's a free newsletter. Like they're not paying $5 a month for me to like go bring them every event in, the county. Like it's free, right? So like you also have to remember that too. Like you are providing whatever you send is still providing a little bit of quality to their lives, right? Like, it's not going to be perfect. You're not going to ever make it perfect. It just won't be. So that's a long-winded answer. Basically, I had to just keep going and tell myself like, I'm only going to be able to spend this amount of time. I'm going to go to these sources. I'm going to curate these contents. And that then formulated the, sections of my newsletter. And I had to tell myself I'm capping myself off at like this amount of articles per section. We're going to do this every Monday, every Wednesday, every Friday. Real estate's on Wednesdays, foodie Friday. We're going to do a restaurant on Fridays. And then so like it turned into a scrambled mess of duct taping like 15 different tools and websites together to an assembly line. And that took my content curation, writing process, all of that from 3 to 4 hours to literally less than 20 minutes. And when that happened, that enabled me to spend more time to go actually monetize the business side, and sell the ads. And that was the biggest game changer. Because if you're just running around like writing your newsletter and you're not selling ads, like you're going to get into that just snowball effect of never being able to monetize. So I don't know if that answered your question at all, but
yeah. And I think while I can see some people, you might be thinking like, yeah, I get what you're saying, Shane, but I just really want this to be good. I know people love it. I get so much good feedback and whatnot. And I think as long as you have this mindset of, watching what you're doing, the time you're spending, and the value you're giving versus what if you streamlined more, maybe the value drops a little, but would that help you and in the long run, your readers, by maybe not obsessing over every little detail? This is something, admittedly, I mean, I'm not even over this yet. We're actually working on it now, but like every single pixel and what does the category title look like? And what is the design of our featured event, image that we do? And like, yeah, these things are cool. They make it look better. They're impressive and stuff. Now we are working on automating this with the software. We actually are doing this right now. But in the meantime, it is just a lot of work that it definitely doesn't, of course, doesn't pay off financially. But is it even paying off? Like, if we weren't doing that, would people really be that upset? Like, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so at all.
Yeah.
And like the best part about being like a local media, like local newsletter, like you, like sometimes I go to like, like live music at the craft brewery down the road here. Like my subscribers will be there, and I'll just ask them like, what do you like about the newsletter? Like the one guy, like he's like, dude, I love it because like every time I pop in, once in a while, it'll just tell me like my trash day changed. And he's like, that actually just provided enough value to my life that month. Because my wife's not going to be mad at me next week when I miss the trash day. So your newsletter, simple things like that, right? You can go ask them, and they'll tell you. Put polls in, and actually, can I share my screen? Because I'm going to show you something that actually really helped us evaluate this quickly. Let me see if it'll.
Well, while you're pulling it up, because I think this is related maybe to what you're showing, we also should talk about how your writer, because you're not writing it, right? You have a writer. Your writer is in, I don't know if she's in your town, but she's in Canada where you are. This is not an overseas person.
Yeah. We can chat about that actually.
Yeah. Go ahead and do that if you can pull it up. But talk about how your thoughts on having a local writer, the cost versus benefit of that, because obviously it costs a lot more dollars. But what are you gaining from that versus other options there?
Okay. This is if we do story time, this is gonna be a little bit longer, but this is a key part of the bit. So I don't care if anyone here. I hired an overseas VA at one point to like help me out to do this when I was getting bogged down, and it was the worst decision I have made in business probably in my entire life. It was a disaster. First of all, I had to go through 3 or 4 of them to find one that I would actually like kind of show up and do the work. And then they, like, this is not their problem, probably mine, but like, they're just Googling like, so for one of my newsletters is in a town called Belleville, right? So there's 4 Bellevilles in North America. So I would get the newsletter sometimes at like 10 at night, and it would be news from Belleville, Illinois, which isn't even in my country. And so I'd end up having to rewrite the newsletters myself a lot of the time. And then so you're constantly going through this, like, and then I was just like, you know what, I can't do this anymore. Like, if I'm going to continue a local newsletter, I need someone who's local that can't make these mistakes and can quickly just make decisions, in one tap of this is going in and this isn't. And once I did that, I actually ended up saving money in the long term because she was able to get things done quicker, make decisions faster. The back and forth time went down significantly. Like, there's actually literally none now. Like, she writes my news, I don't even look at them anymore. It's sitting in the Beehive scheduled and it's done. And so that considerably changed the ability to scale my business. And now she can operate all 3.
Yeah, no, I think it's really interesting because we're kind of dealing with this in another angle of the business where it's not, people aren't surprised just at the high level of what we're talking about, right? Which is you go cheap and it's great because it's cheaper, but the quality drops or the amount of time it takes goes up, that actually paying more can mean you're actually paying less, right? Because they get more done faster, they do it higher quality. You don't have to spend your time redoing things. So it's really interesting how, your writer, she uses our software, right? Lightbreak to do the newsletters. She's doing, how many newsletters is she doing a week and how long does it take her?
So
you have 3 and she does 3 weeks. So 9, right?
Yeah. So yeah, easy math. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's doing
math.
9 newsletters. Yeah. How much time does she spend per week to write 9 newsletters?
About 3 to 4 hours a week.
3 to 4 hours. Okay. So what is that? 30 to 40 minutes an issue. And that includes everything, creating it, reviewing it, making sure it's all good, all of that, 30 minutes. Yeah. So
putting the ads in, changes, any creative, like the creative changes are already done. Completely scheduled, done, boom, out the door. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's, most VAs would probably take 3 hours per issue. I mean, honestly, at least. Yeah. Right. So she's doing 9 in 3 hours versus 1 in 3 hours. And it probably wouldn't be as good. Right. So that is,
she she's killing it. Like
Yeah.
our feedback on our polls on like the bottom of our newsletters are like always just like 90% like very good, like thumbs
Mhm.
up, great content, thank you, since she took over, because
Mhm.
she's better than me. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, okay, let's talk about ads a bit,
Sure.
or sales plus implementation, because again, we don't want to keep harping on, but Lightbreak has the kind of ad system to where it becomes easy to sell them and for them to get in the newsletter, because when you sell them, they can fill them out and then they just go right in the newsletter, right? So that's cool. But like, let's go before that though. You have done a really good job for sales. So by the way, you didn't even say it. Like, if people realize, I know your town, at least your main one, there's only 50,000 people there. I mean, this is small. I would consider
Yep.
that small. So you're in a small area.
Yep. Very
Okay.
small. Yeah.
So that
Very
to me,
small,
that makes
rural,
that
like,
sales harder.
yeah, small,
Yeah.
rural, blue collar, like radio advertising, like
Yeah.
bench
Yeah.
build, like people. When I was talking about like they're like newsletter, like what do you mean?
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
no newsletter for businesses. Like it was a foreign concept, so
Hmm.
very difficult.
Yeah. So now you, of course, have a sales background. So that gives you a huge advantage, which is great. And it seems like you've leveraged it. So maybe just give everyone the overview of how have you done well with sales? Like any tips, thoughts? Like what did you, maybe at the beginning, how did you go from, what were the tricks to go from zero to like, oh crap, I'm sold out of, once per week? And like what other strategies have you used that have worked?
Yeah. So you never want to hear the word free in business, but that's what I did. I gave like away like kind of like free ads at the beginning. I just went to a few people I knew that owned businesses in town, told them I'd throw them up, and I just said, you know what? Like I'll throw up this ad. If you get a lead, pay me what you think it was worth. You know what I mean? If the job was done and it was $1,000 job, like I don't know, buy me a beer next time I see. I didn't care at that point. I just knew that I needed something in there so that other businesses that signed up to the newsletter would be like, oh, they sell ads. Like I want to at least inquire about that. That was number one. Number two was after I did get some ads and started getting some interest and the subscriber base grew, I went to a very, very large, like I would call like a pinnacle business in my city. And again, I just did a swap. I said, if you give me this, I'll give you this. I'm just trying this new thing out. Once that business was in my newsletter, it was game over. It was like, okay, these guys, like every single person knows in town, are in this newsletter. Like I'm gonna at least inquire about it. I'm not gonna say I have a 100% close rate because I don't. It's not even close, but getting the warm lead rotation in your pipeline is imperative. Especially again, if you're watching this and you're a side hobbyist or like side hustler or a hobbyist in this right now, it's like the sales process takes a long time. SMBs are probably not going to be attuned to knowing what newsletter advertising is, and they're very skeptical of costs and new things. So it's going to be education. What is a newsletter? How do I track my ad? Like what's your what is an ad? What does it cost? All that stuff. Do not, by the way, when you're pitching them, don't say the word CPM, CTR, click
Sure.
through rate. They don't even care about impressions, probably most of them, unless they have an actual marketing team. What you should do is put it just in plain, obvious text. If you buy this ad on Monday morning, we'll send it out and 10,000 people will see it. That's what they want to know. So if you have 20,000 people and you have a 50% open rate, don't say what I just said. I have a 20,000, just say 10,000 people will probably see this ad on Monday morning. It's $300. Do you want to try that? See what they say. Make it just plain obvious and simple. And that's what I did. And it was really hard for me because again, like you said, I have a sales background, but it's corporate sales. Like it's numbers, it's buying on data and stuff like that. So even that was kind of like hard for me to like just dial in that like one line for them to understand. But anyways, that was pretty much it. And after that, like getting the warm pipeline, again, having the sponsorship manager has been huge because, even conveying the value back to them with like the clicks, that they get, being able to manage the partnerships through the portal is huge because, they just submit their creatives and assets and I don't have to do the email, phone call back and forth of, adding them into a Notion spreadsheet and then copying and pasting it back into Beehive and, the 9 p.m. Can I change my URL for tomorrow? Like it's all just done. So
Mhm.
that was a lifesaver too, for scalability. And yeah, so growing from like none to one was free, and then from one to thousands of dollars was the harder part, and it did take some, you know, cold outreach and some education, but it was just finding the right partners too. I'm going on a tangent here, but I
No,
did a
go.
really bad portion of where I was just allowing anybody to advertise in my newsletter. At one point, I had like people that were just selling books on Amazon that were like local authors, and like it was just a mess, man. And then I was like, I just need to go find like 5 or 6 different like professions or industries around here that like have like like we've all heard the, you know, go find a high LTV business, and like, you know, but that is true because they will see the value in 3 customers, and you can run an ad for an entire year. They get 3 or 4 customers from it, like they're happy, man. Like, and so,
Yeah.
yep.
No, that's all really, really good advice. I think the one, it reminds me of the story Sam Parr talked about on The Hustle, where before he had any advertisers, he just put an ad in for Ford, to make it seem like, okay, there's multi-billion-dollar company advertising here, so that all the other companies would say, well, oh, if Ford is advertising here, I need advertising here. And because that strategy works, which is what you're saying worked for you, right? You got somebody big who everybody's like, oh, well, if they're doing it, then that must, it's like legitimizing you, right? And
Yep.
so I think there's 2 ways to go about that. One is the more gray area, which is do what Sam did, which is just like do it without their permission. He didn't even talk to them. I guess you theoretically could do that, although I'm not saying that that's the right thing to do. But another way would just be reach out to the big players and say, I'll do it for you for free. Same thing you did, right? Which is like go to your ideal advertiser, assuming there's plenty of others that would see them as like the big dogs, and just be like, let me do it for you for free. And then hopefully all the people like them, the legit players, will see that and then want to do it and pay you for it, right? I actually am very seriously thinking I need to do this. This actually in my area sounds like the right thing to do. So, yeah.
The the one key thing too I will say is like a lot of people will say I don't know, man, I can't even find the word for it, but like I don't know if it's cliche or just like, you know, whatever, but like I literally just have a link at the top of every single newsletter I send out. It's the very top before the
So,
intro, everything, and it just says, could your business use a boost, question mark, advertise with us here, and here is a link, and it goes to Lightbreak's sponsorship portal. And every single time we send out a newsletter, maybe 90% of the time, I'll say every single time, but 90% of the time, we get one warm lead. It's
so
the simplest thing, even
so
if
the
they
link,
click it by accident.
yeah. So a couple things you're saying here, which again, I love it. This is the kind of like small thing that probably has a big impact. So and just to be transparent about everything, I do what you're saying in like, I would put it in the like 60% down from the newsletter. We have like a little blurb that says, do you want to get in front of 26,000 local people? Something like, whatever. But it's
Mhm.
60% down. So literally what you're saying is no, just have it be the first thing. Like the absolute top first thing. And then now that I think about it, it's like, it's frustrating because it's so obviously like a better way to do it other than like, oh no, will people not like it? Again, that doesn't matter. Like it's not a big deal. I literally need to message my team right now. We have to do that. So thank you for doing that. But because I'm going to do that. But also what you're saying is, so when they click that link, is that going to the page that has pricing that they could click and buy? Is that the page where it
Mhm.
says one ad is 250 or $300, they could click and buy it? Or is it going to a, hey, here's why we're so great, reach out to me?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Right now, it just goes to the form, because
No pricing?
I'm no pricing. We have one at the bottom that has pricing, and
Oh, okay.
I put some in our like featured sections, like for event, like we have an event listing feature that you can pay for. So I have one of that in the events section. I should put that at the top. The reason I don't right now is because we only do 6 month plus contracts, and no one's gonna buy a 6 month plus contract from like direct from my website. Probably. I mean,
Yeah,
if
yeah,
they
yeah.
did,
No,
that'd be
probably
freaking
not.
sweet. It'd be like a
Yeah, yeah.
$10,000 like purchase for Stripe, like
Probably not.
for passive income. Talk about that. But if you are just starting out and you just want to sell ads, like that's an amazing way. Like, okay, so like for an example, like Axios Local, Patch. I don't know if
6
Tegna
a.m.
does
City,
this, but
6 a.m. City has their pricing that you can
yeah.
just, they're
So
automated, buy it yourself. Yeah.
yeah, the self-serve portal, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So like
Yeah.
we have that in Lightbreak. I've used it. Like I've gotten money from that. It's the best feeling ever. You like sit there, all of a sudden a $400 Stripe comes through. You're like, this is amazing. Where'd that come from? But yeah, we have the ability to do that now, and like listen to some of their podcasts that those guys are on. that's their most profitable. Like just obviously, right? It's like you don't have to pay a salesperson. Like someone just goes, buys, builds their ad, pays for it, and just shows up in the booked newsletter that they like. That's amazing. Like that, if you
Mhm.
can do that, that's like that's the future of the business, right? Like for the newsletter side, anyway. Like that's
Mhm.
awesome. And then what you do, right, is like so what we do is like when people do purchase from that, it builds the profile into the software, and then you have their contact info. You take the clicks from the ads that they booked, that the one-offs, contact them. Hey, 97 people clicked on your ad. Like, want to talk about a partnership for a 3 month? Like, this obviously worked pretty well one time. Like, imagine it was 12, right? Like, then you can have that conversation. So it's a great like lead magnet into the bigger conversation.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I totally see that, but I also see both. Even 6 a.m. City on some of his episodes, he talks about what we just said, right? They do both, right? They do the salespeople cold reaching out to the big players to try to sign 12-month contracts, but then they also have the self-serve. How do you think about having both of those where a bigger player would see that you're offering ads for 250, but then it's like, well, you're trying to sell me at 10 grand for a year. Why wouldn't I just go buy these at 250? Like, I think that's one of my concerns is by having the public number, is that hurting your ability to sell more valuable partnerships? How would you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have to like kind of like mix in a price matrix where like that works out for you. Again, like building like the form correctly, just so like, hey, we offer long-term discounts, we offer long-term partnership, like, special pricing, like whatever, like make that apparent, like throw the info on there, like people will read it. Um, Again, like if you're just like kind of hacking around, like I just I'm a kind of just ship it guy. To be honest with you, like I
Mhm.
don't
Yeah.
think a lot about things. I just go like whatever, man. Like if this
Mhm.
doesn't work out, I'll reconfigure it. I'll just try it again, right? Like I just wouldn't even think too deep about it. Like if you have an event section, throw it like do the self serve portal, throw an event up there, and just have it listed for $50. See if someone buys
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
If
Yeah. For
someone
a bit,
does,
100%.
increase it to 100.
Yep.
No one buys it, go back down to 75. You know what I mean? Like it just
Mhm.
find out,
That's
and
good.
then I don't.
Well, I
I
think
think
that
sometimes as sorry, go ahead.
Well, I think the real answer, tell me what you think about this, is just, and I've been working on this, trying to figure out the right strategy, but it's okay. If you buy an ad for 250, like you're literally getting an ad that is under 80 words, that, very like, it's just stock, right? You're just getting off the shelf your placement in for one ad. If you sign a 6 month or 12-month deal as a partner and all this, what else can we give them that's way more than just an ad, right? And that's probably the answer to my own question, right? Is
Yeah.
you're not just getting an ad once a month or twice a month. We're also going to put you on social. We're going to write articles about you on the website. We're going to create some content and send it to you so you can have some extra content to leverage yourself. We'll give you a backlink. All these things you can probably do for a partner that, oh, you buy one ad for 250 is like clearly the value in the partnership is so much higher. It's probably the right answer, right?
Yeah, I mean, like right there, like you just spoke about a bunch of things I've never even thought about, right? Like
Yeah.
backlinks and like blog, like I like. There's so much more to the business than I've even remotely tapped into. So yeah, like that, all of
Yeah.
that's huge, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Digital marketing for them, helping them out, like like
Yeah.
helping their website. Like the list goes on and on and on of like what you can do once you have that contact, to create leverage around your locality. So.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, even that one, I really like that Justin Moore was on. Everybody should listen to that one if you're interested in ads or how to get sponsorships. And he talked about exactly that of, my idea, which has been, I've talked about a bunch here, is becoming a digital marketing agency, right? But that is kind of a big lift, especially if you're doing it as a side hustle. You can't just like also do a newsletter and also have a full blown digital marketing agency. It's just too much, right? So how do you do it? How do you give them some value of a digital marketing agency without being fully responsible? And that's kind of being almost like a consultant, just like, hey, 2 hours a month, I'll chat with you for an hour and I'll create a bunch of content for you for an hour so that you don't need to go hire somebody for 4 grand a month to do it. You can get a ton out of me with my consulting and giving you some content that you can reuse yourself, right? So it's kind of like the simple version of doing a digital marketing agency. So that's another play. I'd definitely urge people to check that episode out. Okay, and then let's talk about what. So you've been doing it over a year. you've gone up from 1 to 3 to 1 time a week to 3 times a week, all this growth, all this exciting stuff. You're selling a lot of ads, you're making real money, especially for a side hustle. But what would you do differently? What knowing what you know now, for anybody who's listening to this, who's literally hearing about local newsletters right now and they want to start one, how would you advise them in like what mistakes you made or what things you would do different?
Oh God, it's a long list.
Yeah, we need to do another episode. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, let's say like top three. Like what? Yeah, what jumps out at you? What's the first thing that jumps out at you?
Well, that overseas VA thing was just a
Okay.
terrible decision. So that's like a number one. Number two was I spent like way too long like caring too much about like what people thought. Like it was
Too much
really hard,
detail.
right? Yeah, too much detail, overthinking everything. Again, like I've just learned to just ship it now, so like that's just kind of like what I do. But like there was just so much, like especially because like, and this is like something maybe I don't know if a lot of people deal with, but like I started this in my own town, in my hometown. So like there was like a lot of just this like weird like
Mm. People
I'm
know
out
you're.
here. Yeah, like I don't want to go like to like like the grocery store and like people are looking at me and like, oh, like I can't believe you put that like article in your newsletter about this thing about City Hall and you got me on fire. Like, and I just kind of realized like no one really care. Like it's not that deep. Like they don't care that much. Like and so I thought about that for a long time. So I hesitated on content. I took too long on things. And like that was like pretty bad. But I don't know if everybody has that, but I got a little bit of anxiety about that at the start. So it took
Mm.
me a while to get over that. Another thing was like I didn't have any process or systems or tools in place when I started. And that like hindered my ability to scale for like a long time. Like it was like I'm telling you like that 3 to 4 hour grind of like writing the newsletter at one point was just like there was a point where I was just like I can't do this like this anymore. So like I like this either just gets better or I don't I fold the newsletter and it's just I move on to something else because that was there was a lot of just wasted time, I would say that way. I mean again those are just business workflows you got to get through, but um another thing that I would probably focus a lot more on is like social media. Again, like I haven't done literally any of that. I think there's a huge like popularity contest in cities like for just how big's your Instagram following? You get that a lot for advertisers and stuff like that. And so probably hiring out for that or figuring out a way to get that done quickly. I don't know, man. There's probably a lot that I would have done differently. How about you?
Yeah.
No one ever asked you questions. How about you?
Yeah. Man, I don't know. I got a whole long list as well. I would probably say the first thing that jumps out at me is exactly what you're saying of what we talked about earlier and just now, not stressing too much about the details. Um, it even like I said, I think we didn't really go over it too much, but like events specifically, yes, we all know events is a very big reason why people like our newsletters. And so I know there are some people who just spend so much time looking for every possible perfect event. And we kind of do that too. And at least some of our newsletters, like the bigger ones that we kind of focus on the most. And again, to the point of, extra hours per newsletter. And we have multiple newsletters, right? So like it adds up significantly. And is it really worth it, right? Like how much of the business changes if instead of finding the absolute 10 best events, we put in 6 pretty good ones that we found quickly,
Yeah.
right? What changes? And well, I know the way I'm doing things right now, basically, I mean, I'm pretty confident the answer is nothing, right? It doesn't change at all. So being able to recognize that is going to be key. Again, we're still struggling with this. There's some team, there's inertia, right? It's funny to think about how when it comes to legacy media or businesses in general, how much inertia just is why things are done the way they're done. We're a tiny company with like 4 people, 5 people, and we have inertia problems, right? So I can't imagine if you have hundreds or thousands and 20 30 years of business. So we probably need to adapt to that for sure. That's the thing that scares me. Now, I will say some of the other stuff that we spend too much time on that, again, I would not do again, but it is design, right? Is like not just like the structural design, because I think that's worth it because that's one time, right? When you create your template type of designs, I think people underdo that because it's just a one-time thing. But what we do spend too much time on, I think, is some of the kind of graphic stuff that we do. That's per newsletter, right? Like image, Canva style images for the header, for the like top news story. And, we make a bunch of these things. And it's probably not worth it today. But here's the thing, again, don't want to keep talking about this, but it is important. We literally built Lightbreak. And for anybody, if you're still listening to this, you probably know I built my own, Shane built his own, and we realized we're just better off together. I was trying to solve this problem, and Lightbreak now solves this problem, which is those images that we were spending, say, 10 minutes per image per newsletter with multiples in each, right? So you're talking 30 minutes of newsletter for graphics amongst 18 newsletters, like it adds up. We built into the software the ability to automate this, which I know is crazy. We'll show this sometime soon, but if we can actually automate this, then I think it's a great thing to do, right? But for the last year and a half, it has not been a great thing to do. So until it's automated, probably not a good idea, but hopefully it'll be a great idea soon when it's easy, right? Like a lot of things, if it's hard, it's not worth doing, but if it's easy, you should absolutely do it.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more. It's get your content, get it like quality enough, get it out the door, sell your ads, or monetize in other ways. I know there's a ton of people monetizing in other really cool ways too, but again, all of it comes down to time. Like it all comes down to time. Can I do this? How can I do it quickly but quality? And how can I monetize at the same time? Like that's just the bare bones, right?
Yep.
But yeah,
No, I agree. I think it's so smart and important to be thinking about this, and even the ad stuff, which again I've been terrible at, but that's because I'm kind of focused on a lot of things in a different direction. Of course, Lightbreak software being a big one, but knowing that you're going to burn out if you're not making money from it, right? And so to focus on that side just as much as you focus on searching for events and design elements and making it a great newsletter, like that is, again, if you want it to just be a project, some people maybe just don't need to make money. If you're making six figure, like, or again, as you said, you have another goal. Some people, I'm talking to people today who are wanting to leverage local media to become politicians, right?
Yep.
That is a great strategy because now people get to know, like, and trust you, which is what you want as a politician or whatever business you're trying to sell. If you're an insurance agent or a financial planner or real estate agent, whatever, you need people to know, like, and trust you. This is a fantastic strategy for that. But if you're just doing it thinking is going to make you a bunch of money, well, you better focus on the money side, right? And not focus so much on the design and the events. So I think that's probably should be the key takeaway for everybody. Understand why you're doing it and know that if you're not, like, if money is it, focus on money as much as you can reasonably.
Yep. Yeah. Couldn't agree more. Yeah. There's so many cool ways, like, that we could have a whole nother episode about, like, just outside monetization factors of just, like, the leveraging your media brand as, like, you could become the mayor. Like, you probably could.
Yeah.
Like, if you did this for 10 years, like, you know enough people, you could become the mayor of your city. You could start a marketing agency out of your newsletter for small businesses. Like, if you've grown, like, your newsletter to, like, 20,000 subscribers, like, meta ads probably better than, like, 80% of
more than that
people in your city, right? So, like,
you be in
so many ways.
If you're doing meta ads for a newsletter, this is why I can't stress enough. If you're just looking for any way to make money, the digital marketing agency is the play. Like, to me, it's an absolute no-brainer if you are willing and wanting to do that and capable of doing it and understand the trade-offs. It's not easy, but, like, that is the play because small businesses do not understand this stuff. And if you do, you can sell it to them. Like, it's just, now you're still gonna have to do the sales to sell them on giving you money to do meta ads. So again, that's why practicing getting in front of these business owners is so valuable. But speaking of which, Shane, maybe we should do that actually on this show, but then also, I mean, let's just tell people what we're about to start doing. We are going to start another podcast called Media Creates Leverage. And so this show is going to be specifically about the concept of media brands and why media brands are going to be so much bigger and so much more important in the future, especially creator-led or call it founder-led, where the goal of the media brand is to sell something else. Okay. This once I saw this, Shane, tell me what you think, because I know I keep sending these to you. Once we fully grasp what we're doing here with the media creates leverage concept, I keep seeing it multiple times a day being discussed on Twitter, in some of the media or newsletter creator newsletters that I get. People just constantly are talking about this. I mean, there was one 2 days ago that was about Disney. Literally, like, this is Disney's play, is like using media as marketing for their other businesses, right?
Yeah.
And this is going to become everything in the new AI era. And so we're going to create a brand and a channel to kind of talk about this outside of just local, because it's local is the same thing. We're doing it right now, but we're only focused on local. And so what we're going to do with this show and newsletter is just talk about it, how it applies everywhere in terms of media and business, not just local.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited for that. Like, I can't wait to dig in the trenches of random niches. Like, oh man, like, I don't even want to go down the rabbit hole because it's gonna be an hour long from me talking about how many businesses I found in the past week searching Pokemon, like media brands making millions of dollars out there just talking about Pokemon trading card game news. Like, that's it. Like, guy on the Tesla guy on Twitter. What's his name?
I don't remember, but he just curates.
He just aggregates news about Tesla stock.
Yeah,
like, that's it.
Yeah.
1 million subscribers on thing. Like, it's, yeah. Anyways, I'm excited for that show, but
it's going to be really exciting. So we'll post some links if you guys want to check that out. We already got everything set up, newsletter and channel. We haven't recorded one yet, but we're about to in the next week or so. So keep an eye out for that. But and then I know we talked about Lightbreak a little bit. If anyone's interested, again, check it out, Lightbreak.ai. Book a demo with us. We'll show it to you. It's really exciting stuff. But thanks so much for being on here, Shane. Appreciate it.
Thanks, TJ.
All right. See ya.